And we should be live, I think. Wait for the stream to update, and we'll check out now if we are. So, hold on. Can't see it yet. Okay, here we go. Let's see if audio is good. You can put it in the chat if it is. But as you can see, this is actually relatively recent news, and this is just a quick live stream. It could turn into a long one. I don't really know. I just thought we'd live stream, go through a bunch of things with it because it's easier than just me making the video, and it's new news, so might as well. It's easier here. Right, okay, so audio is working, and we should be good to go. I'll just let everyone that saw it on Twitter join into the stream. And we'll see where we go from there. Let's see how many people come into the live stream. I'm not gonna start talking about it until, you know, we get like maybe 3, 4, 5 people in here. There's no point. I'll just be speaking to myself. Anyway, regardless, we are here. Let me just refresh the stream. See what's going on. So, as you can see here, actually on the Bitmain website, they haven't actually released anything to do with the KS3, the KS5 Pro. But there are the KS3 there and the accessories for the KS3. The price on that is actually relatively low. I know you can't get it for that anymore. Price per terahash or per terahash, yeah, is 1.599. Then the price per terahash here is 1499. So not actually that much of a difference between the price over the terahash, which is interesting. So they've got 2 versions of this now. They have the KS5 Pro that we're seeing here, and then they have the KS5. Now, I don't know if there's actually any difference in terms of the, what would you say, if it's basically the same board, and there's just some firmware updates to the KS5 to get it up 1 more terahash. But 1 terahash for 150 watts is seeming like a good trade-off right there. But both the same efficiency. So I don't know why you'd ever want to pick, you know, the KS5 over the KS5 Pro if they're both selling at the same price as well. This one's going to be selling for $1,500 more than the KS5. So you kind of got to do the calculations yourself. You know, wonder if we're going to see what's the trade-off for that. So you get 1 terahash more for $1,500, basically, is what they're saying here. At only 150 power watts draw, which is good. And then obviously the efficiency is the same for both of them. So it takes 150 watts per terahash, if the calculations are right. And we haven't seen it on the website, as we've just seen there. But there's, you know, it's coming out on February 26th, so 2 days time. 1 customer can purchase up to 25 units. We probably know that people have, you know, I wouldn't say pre-allocations, but they have inside sources in Bitmain, and they can get a hold of them way before us, you know, mining farms, stuff like that. Shipping in early March. So by then, the block reward will have dropped down 1 unit of block reward based on the emission. And, you know, would you start mining? Like, how does it compare in regards to the KS3? well, you have an efficiency on the KS3 of 372. Yeah, am I right? 372 joules per terahash. And this one has 150 joules per terahash. So a substantial increase right there in efficiency. Like basically a double increase in efficiency for these KS5. I don't know why they've called it KS5. Why wouldn't they just call it a KS4? I'm not really sure. But based on what we're seeing there, this KS5 is basically double the efficiency of the KS3. Even though it's pulling the same amount of watts, you're still getting 20 terahash from this, or 21 terahash depending on which one you buy. So I'm assuming they're going to be using the same payment methods, all of these BTC, Ethereum, and USDT. I would have liked them to at least offer Kaspa coin because you are mining it, so that might have been nice of Bitmain to do that. So you're only taking a well, are you taking a substantial hit because it's $200 every time? Yeah, you probably are. The difference between it is you're paying an extra $100 per terahash on the KS3, if I'm right, and a price of $13,111. What is the price of these then in regards to that? Because it'd be 1,500. Let's just do this calculation real quick. Times by 20. So it's $30,000 for the KS5, and then it would be 31,500 for the KS5 Pro that we're seeing here. Double the lead in performance. I didn't read that, but yeah. So it is basically a double in performance that we're seeing here from the KS5, and it's only coming out in 2 days. So if people want to make a bet on it, this is actually a great live stream to display it, because I have a updated Kaspa ROI table here, which should be fairly up to date. All we have to do is we'd have to import, I guess, the figures here. So let's take out this IB-Link Max and let's replace it with the KS5 Pro. So we can calculate from here, or should we just go with the, it doesn't really matter, right? We'll go with the Pro version, so the highest terahash that you can get and the highest watts that you can pull. Hello, Neo Morpheus. Welcome into the live stream. And the terahash for that was sitting at, let's just see here, 21 terahash. So if you guys never seen this sheet before, it's an updated version. I'm going to be making a video soon on all the calculations for it. And you guys can use this. I think I dropped the link in the description if you wanted to use it. So we have the terahash, 20 terahash right here, and then the power. Sorry, I'm just listening to the whole stream back, seeing if it's still running. The power that we're having here is 3,150 watts. And that gives us a daily Kaspa reward of 1,464. And that's actually quite a lot when compared to the other ones that we're seeing on this list. So this is the KS3 right here, and it's basically a double in efficiency and giving us double the rewards of those, or even triple the rewards when we're looking there, because that's 9.4, this is 8.3. These aren't necessarily double 21 terahash. Now, the thing is, when it comes down to price, this is really going to shift this. So let me explain this whole spreadsheet so you guys can understand. So we had the price of Kaspa coin, which is updating. We have the return per megahash and the return per terahash. All we got to do is click refresh, and these numbers will refresh to the exact price, the exact return per megahash, and the exact return per terahash. So it's a nice little sheet that you can update regularly. Then we have the terahash here, the power that you're pulling, and the daily Kaspa rewards is basically the terahash times the return per terahash. The price you can input yourself. So for the KS5, it was 131,500. And then the revenue here is just a calculation of the daily Kaspa rewards times the price of Kaspa coin. And then the profit is basically taking the power cost right here and then minusing out the revenue differential. So you can increase this. So let's say it was 15 cents per kilowatt hour. Click enter and the figures will change. So let's reset it back to 10 cents per kilowatt hour. This is our profitability that we're working with for this KS5 Pro. That's actually really good profits within this, and the ROI in days is 134 days right there. That's just based on the difficulty right now. If you want a better look at it, you would go down to here, and it would actually, let's rename this to the KS5 Pro, and let's rename this one down here to the KS5 Pro. So in the first month, you're only going to mine, what's that, around 5,000. So the way that this works, I need to explain it as well, is you take the price of the ASIC and then you minus basically off the profit times 30. So obviously 30 days in a month. It's not going to be like too accurate, let's just say, but it gives a good overall general view of what you're looking at. And then it shows you how much you accumulate off the price. So in the first month, as you can see there, it's 24,423. That's how much you're in the negative still. And then the second month, 17,530. Third month, 11,000. Fourth month, 8,800. And then in the fifth month, you should ROI. And in theory, you should get back $914. This is your actual profit after you've ROI'd. Then the thing that you've got to also look out for, which I've implemented into this sheet, is the emission schedule. So these numbers basically pertain to the emissions. I have left it in the description if you want to play around with it. It is in viewer only mode, so you have to actually come to the top, just click copy, and then paste it into your own Google Sheet. So, you know, I don't know a way to actually share it without doing that, but that's basically what we're working with. So every month it is the profits and then it's minused out by the emission schedule. So you take the profits and you basically divide it by this figure, which is the figure for the emission schedule curve. And you don't really need to know too much about that, but every month it's accounted for with the emissions. Now, this shows us that in the fifth month, we'll be making $914 in that month. And then by the sixth month, you'll have 6,385. The seventh month, you'll have 11,500, and so on and so on. So this chart goes all the way up to 25 months, where you should have around $67,000 in Kaspa coin. We have a little chart down here and shows you how much Kaspa coin that could be. So that's 407,000 Kaspa coin. This is the dollar amount here. So the dollar amount and the Kaspa amount, obviously there's a difference there. And all of this also tracks to the price of Kaspa coin. So you have here a calculation, as you can see right here, which is the previous month, and then you divide it by obviously the emission schedule, and then you take away the profitability and times by 30 again. So a bunch of calculations going on here, but you don't need to change any of this down here. All you need to change is what terahash you have, what power you have, the price of the ASIC, and then you need to click refresh so that these all change. So if you click refresh, all of these load back up with the exact figure for what you're needing. So this doesn't necessarily display what the price of Kaspa coin could be, because we can't build that into a calculator, because in theory we don't know what the price of Kaspa coin will be in the future. But for the most part, this is a pretty definitive chart that we can see that is going to allow us to make predictions, sorry, onto the ROI times of ASICs. So I believe that even with hashrate NO and mine the ASIC, they don't have the current halving schedule implemented in. It's just run based off the figure of the block reward. So this is a fixed block reward for the month. However, every month they would change that, and then the new updated ROI time would come based off the block reward and not the halving schedule necessarily. So this gives us a more accurate figure of the ROI times for that. So ROI time on the KS5 Pro is 134 days. I'm willing to bet it's nearly the exact same if we take it out, because the KS5 is slightly less watts and slightly less terahash. So I'm wondering if it's going to go up to, okay, so 134 days. So there's basically no difference between the two. Are you going to get one at $30,000? Who really knows? Thank you for your efforts. Thank you as well, Dimitar. Make sure you like the video, guys. You know, it just shares it out for you guys and allows more people to watch it. So when we're updating for that, it's basically the same ROI time, whether you buy the KS5 Pro or the KS5. These are substantially better and more efficient than anything else on the market that we're seeing right here. Even, you know, the KS3M was the go-to in terms of the ROI times. This was the most efficient Kaspa miner on efficiency, obviously not on terahash and stuff like that. But you can see you only got 6 terahash and it was 3,400 watts. But that also gave you a good ROI time because the price of them were pretty low at the time. This is what kind of factors into the ROI time, is more the price and not necessarily the efficiency of them. But this KS5 Pro that we're seeing here, that's going to be released in 2 days, so on Monday, kind of looks to be blowing everything out of the water when we're seeing even these, even the Windminer K9. I've not actually seen any videos on the Windminer K9 yet, but definitely the KS3s, either Bitmain or the ones from Ice River. And there's a lot actually going on in terms of Bitmain, because if we look back here, we go to Lithium. Are we going to see the one with Bitmain on here? How long is it going to take until we scroll down to the one that says Bitmain? I don't know. But Bitmain are working slightly in with the Lithium team right now. Yeah, so here, our partners for historical, do we have this in English anywhere? Yeah. Okay, new hackathon partner, Bitmain, a historical supporter of proof of work chains. Obviously, they just came out with a new miner. Will award special prizes and add 7.5k to the main pool. Is a humble partner with such a prestigious supporter in our industry. Total prize pool is now over 70,000. So clearly Bitmain have at least some conversations with the Lithium team, and we're probably going to be seeing, you know, a lot of the what would you say? A lot of people may be speculating on Bitmain releasing for Lithium as well. If we look at the Lithium Explorer right now, I'm willing to bet that we see a sizable increase in hash rate. But for the main part, if we're just looking, we'll look at Lithium in a minute. I just want to, finish up this KS5 Pro kind of thing. So the terahash is double basically anything out there. The watts are nearly the same as what you're pulling right now. It's basically doubled the terahash and halved, well, in theory, doubled the efficiency, because we're still using the same amount of power. Price is also double of what we're seeing here. I know that these aren't necessarily, what would you say, ideal prices, but if you guys want the sheet that I'm using right now. The link in the description is for it. And you can change these prices to whatever you want. So say you get one of these for 20,000, that's going to change the, the profits here. That's going to change the ROI times here. If it's going for like 40,000, you can see that this line extended in red. So the ROI time at 40,000 is 17 months. So not great if you're buying them at those prices. Let's just reset it to 15,000. So the price of one of these KS5s is going to be $30,000. That is on the, the spot market, spot sale of it. But realistically, not many of us are probably going to get it for that price. They're probably going to sell out very quickly. We'll have to see, what's going on within the market and see how many of these obviously sell. I'm willing to bet that all of them are going to sell out very, very quickly, just based on the fact that it's double the hash rate with basically the same amount of power. It's actually less power than all of these figures that we're seeing here. So the lowest one, apart from these four down here, the lowest one is still this KS5 Pro that Bitmain are releasing, but obviously we can't necessarily go based off these figures that they're given. We'll have to see when people get them in-house and they actually start to buy them. So do they have anything for... No, they don't. They haven't got anything like... I was just trying to refresh the page to see if we could see anything there. But no, we can't see anything there. Anyway, moving on to Alephium, we've seen a massive hash rate spike. As we just saw that Alephium and Bitmain have become partners in this hackathon. It doesn't necessarily mean that Bitmain are working on Alephium ASICs, but you would quite reasonably say if they're supporting it, then they have some interest at least in the Alephium network. They've seen what we did to Kaspa coin. They obviously think Kaspa is a good coin because they wouldn't keep developing for it. But Alephium, therefore, if they come out with a Alephium one, we're going to see price rises as well. And a bunch of other things that happen on the Alephium network. We're probably going to see more market cap coming into that. The price of Alephium right now, if we click through here, let's go. Alephium, so it's $3.47. So that hash rate spike kind of coincides with the price right now, which is always good to see that go up because, with hash rate and price, people always say that they're intertwined. And normally what you want to do is follow where the miners are going. So we've seen it with Carlson, a bunch of people jumping on the network, the price spikes upwards, and then obviously it drops off because people aren't making as much, but it kind of relatively stayed steady. But with Alephium, it's had enough time in the market where it's kind of solidified its own space. It is its own chain. Carlson is based off Kaspa coin. Alephium right here, they've had that hash rate spike. That's nearly double actually when I'm thinking about it. From this low here, maybe down here, 299, what is it up to? 469. Okay, so maybe less than double, maybe 75% increase in hash rate over the last month. And we can see that reflected in the price probably if we go here. So yeah, a pretty, I would say equal, but these are, yeah, maybe the price kind of looks like the hash rate. Right, but for the most part, what we're seeing realistically is hash rate is going up on the network. Let's see if there's anything on the main net. Sorry, the test net. Wow, look at that. That is a massive spike upwards relative to what we're seeing here. So 72 gigahash when we're normally operating at, what does it say, 347 megahash. that could have been an FPGA, most likely well, would it have been? Right, so now I'm just looking at it. That's an interesting spike to see right there, is that when this hash rate hits the network, the transactions completely drop out. Now, what is the reason for that? Does anyone know necessarily why the hash rate, well, why the transactions dropped out on the testnet whilst the hash rate was like spiked up all the way to here? Maybe somebody controlled the network from there and just produced their own blocks that nobody could use. Let's see, transactions, are they kind of coinciding? No, not really, with the hash rate, so you can't really look at that. So the only thing that we talked about in the lithium video that is this supply. So I would have liked for the supply to be more aggressive, because, you know, that's going to increase the price way quicker due to the supply and demand. We know that Kaspa Coin's supply and demand, that is a really aggressive kind of halving, and that's probably indicative of the price, and that's why we're seeing the progression to ASICs very quickly. We had, you know, around 70% of it was mined through GPUs and FPGAs. The last 30% is probably going to be done on ASICs. And we'll have to see kind of, you know, how much of that kind of happens. We're going to see it in 2038 or something like that. And that's mainly when we're going to see that switch over to a chain that only uses fees to sustain the chain from there onwards. So no other incentives but the chain, basically. If you build enough of a, you know, structure around it and a community and enough of an ecosystem, then you can sustain that, definitely, I think. How much problems do you run into is the question that I really have. Is the price of Kaspa Coin has to be substantially higher than it is right now to sustain the network based on fees. However, Kaspa Coin notoriously has the lowest fees per block. You know, the amount to send transactions is like stupidly low. So you kind of run into this problem that even if the price is like skyrocketing high, the fees still remain low on the network. And in 2038, is that going to be able to sustain Kaspa Coin when it goes over to strictly fees on the network when all the emissions have run out? That's kind of the question that I would want to know, or the answer to, but obviously time will tell based on that. But as I said, one of the main drivers of the price of Kaspa Coin was the emission schedule, because it was so aggressive. It gave time for GPU miners to get on the network and, you know, do their thing, mine, and FPGAs even to get on the network and mine. And then slowly, Bitmain comes online and puts ASICs on the network. Ice River comes and puts ASICs on the network. The only reason that that kind of worked so well is because a lot of the coins were mined with GPUs and FPGAs. So you don't have this massive hash rate spike upwards without, you know, those ASICs coming on the network. However, through the ASICs, you get 70 or 30% of the supply is going to be mined by them, but you still gave a load of time for that 70% of the other circulating supply to be mined by GPU miners. There's a lot of things that we could talk about in terms of the supply and why it works so well. Let's take any other coin, for example, that has like a really long time scale. Let's take Raven Coin. No, Raven Coin doesn't really work because it doesn't have ASICs, but let's just take, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that does have ASICs but previously didn't. Ethereum. Well, no, because that didn't really have one supply. Right, let's take, for example, Ravencoin, but pretend that it goes onto ASICs at a certain point. Bitcoin. Let's just take Bitcoin for an example. You have GPU miners at the start. They mine, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, 40% of the supply. And then it moves over to FPGAs. And then there's a bit of a supply merge between the two GPUs and FPGAs. And then ASICs hit the network. Now, Bitcoin is going to take ages for the actual supply to run out. But most of the supply was done in the first couple of, halvings. But the only problem is that, did you give enough time for GPU miners to be on the network? Obviously, it's a different space now because nobody really knew back then what mining was. Kaspa's been kind of one of those things where this is a new coin that, everyone in the space kind of knows about. So they all stuck their GPUs onto it. If they had FPGAs, they would go over to it as well. Now we're looking at ASICs. Can we push these ASICs probably to, higher terahash? Probably. Because there's no memory hardening on the network, it's probably very easy to develop ASICs for Kaspa Coin going forward, getting better in terms of the power and the hash rates, or at least on an efficiency level. Anyway, I'm completely rambling. Let's just get back to the point. Is the KS5 Pro a good buy, in my opinion? If you have $30,000 lying around extra, it definitely is, because the ROI time is relatively short. This is good for ASIC miners. You'll have 30,000 back in the bank within the next 4 months. So you would have to wait 1 month. As you can see here, it's shipping in early March. And for those new joining the live stream, this sheet is linked in the description if you want to use it. And it accounts for every emission schedule, depending on when you're starting it. Just click refresh and the price of all of these will refresh and you'll have updated numbers. And you just replace price, power, and terahash. For the most part, if you are going to be buying one of these, I would caution on the side of overestimating. So when you're doing the calculations for the ROI, just pretend that the price of Kaspa Coin is slightly under this. Pretend that the power cost is slightly higher. This will give you a more accurate figure to make a decision on whether you want to buy it. $30,000 is a lot of money just to throw on an ASIC. If Kaspa's price drops down to 10 cents, this is probably going to extend at least out to the 7-month mark. And then you run into the problem of, are you actually able to get one of these KS5 Pros for $30,000? We saw that a lot of people got the Ice River ones, because I didn't think that there was as much back-end dealing through there, but Bitmain always notoriously will give out, a better price to mining farms and stuff like that. And they sell out very quickly. Let's say that these are 45,000, that puts the ROI back up to 7 months. So it's only a good price if you're getting it for the $30,000 mark. 4 months is relatively quick. So even if you can get a KS3M, which I don't think you could for 7,400. Anonymous Dolphin, thank you for looking at the sheet. I don't think you can actually edit this, so all you can do is refresh right now. But if you want your own version, you just come here, you copy this, and you paste it into your own sheet. Just click in the top right, top left corner. That's for all you people that you can use this, to calculate ROI times. You don't have to stick with these ones. You can input your own figures here and use it from there. So only if you're getting this ASIC for $30,000 is it really worth the price. Once it goes up to 45, you're better off getting cheaper ASICs. Even at these prices, I don't know how much. Let's go back here. How much is one of these worth? 13,111. Okay, so that's for this. I have the price at 16,000 and then 14,000 respectively for both of these. I don't know if that is still the price of them. I haven't actually been that active in terms of the pricing of all these ASICs for Kaspa. I don't actually update this sheet too regularly. But the KS5, if you're getting it for $30,000, that's a pretty good price. You're probably going to have to pay a bit more on top for shipping and customs. Let's just say it's at 35,000. That gives you ROI within 5 months. The days is 155 days. And by month 6, so let's hope that the price of Kaspa coin stays the same. If it goes up, then great, the ROI is going to reduce back down. But if it goes down, then the ROI is obviously going to go higher. It's just all kind of a game. You know, the crypto market's going to go through its ebbs and flows. You just kind of got to stick with it. This gives you a figure overall of 358,000 Kaspa coin within 25 months. So that is, what, 2 years' time? Let's just say, what would that be? That'd be 2025, 2026. And let's just say the price of Kaspa coin is sitting at a modest, I don't know, 25 cents. 25 right there. That gives you $89,000 or $90,000. So you can kind of see how, delete that out. You can kind of see how much you're getting there. Wait, so hold on. Oh yeah, because we did the calculation at 0.25. So 25 cents, it would give you $90,000 in the next 2 years, which is by no means anything but phenomenal, you know? And if you have Kaspa priced at $1 within the next 2 years, so this would be going into 2026, remember? You would basically get $388,000 if you have it priced at $1 per coin. So there's a lot of decision making to do if you want to get into one of these. I say it's a large investment to get into these. The KS0s and the KS0 Pros, I would just discount them from this list. The ROI times on them are pretty long. This is 10 months for the KS0 Pro. And it only gives you $389 within the next 2 years. So not great. How much is that in Kaspa coin? It's 2,338 Kaspa coin. Which, you know, you're better off just, in my opinion, buying $500 worth of Kaspa coin. With these longer ROI times. The only ones that I'm willing to look at is anything that's under 6 months. This is probably the main rule. Anything under 6 months is viable for mining. So this KS5 Pro and the KS5 are going to be viable. The Windminer K9, remember this is based on these prices. I don't think the Windminer K9 is actually that price. I think it's more like 20,000 or something. So still within the 6 month range. The KS3 and the KS3M. If you can get the KS3M for 7,475, let's just go on mine the ASIC and see if we can actually look for KS3M. Can we actually find one for 7,000? Okay, there are ones out there for $7,400. You can buy this, available 20 of them. Okay, so you can buy one. This is for 9,973. So let's input a better figure. Okay, that brings the ROI time slightly higher as well. So this is just a quick live stream that I wanted to show you guys. You know, it just saves me doing a video later on in the week about it, because I'm sure this will garner some views over the time. Overall, the KS5 Pro looks to be a good buy. Basically double the efficiency, same watts in power, the profits are basically doubled. Obviously, the ROI time is extremely low at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, and the price of Kaspa coin right now. As I said, if you want to use this for ROI time estimations, it does include the emission schedule within the calculations, so you don't have to worry about any of that. It just starts on month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. And then lastly, I'll probably be coming out with a video later in this week, or well, it's actually going to be next week. But make sure you go check that out, and you subscribe to the channel and like the video for more content like this.